Well, ladies and gentlemen, 20 years. While these awards are always about celebration, in recognising all those wonderful alumni gathered here tonight and acknowledging the significance of 2 decades of achievement, there is surely even greater reason to celebrate tonight. The awards have come so far in that time, women in business have achieved so much, and my own journey has travelled many miles. 20 years ago exactly, I turned a corner in my own career. As a school dental therapist, those nasty women in those caravans that used to rock around, I'd become one of 3 regional coordinators in Tasmania. But even at that comparatively early age, that was where that particular career path ended. I had already begun my BCom by distance, and I was accepted into what was known as the CATS program. It was a public service program. CATS stood for the Clerical and Administrative Training Program, and it was for women who'd found themselves into what was pretty much obvious, a dead-end career. So I jumped at the chance, I gave it everything, and I worked in a diverse range of roles that were often seemingly disconnected, but which always focused on giving back through the government and community sector, an area that I'm still incredibly proud to represent today. I pursued every opportunity to build my skills, participating in a mentoring program to nurture capacity amongst women with leadership potential, and subsequently I became the first female CEO of an NFP that features in today's paper, which celebrates its 55th year this year. I can still recall my first meeting of all state CEOs involved in that organisation. As the first woman to join the fold over 5 decades, when arriving for the preliminaries, I walked into the boardroom and I found the AV screen was down, not so surprising, but it was the AFL in live action that perhaps took my breath away. And then there were the jugs of beer which were served over accompanying party pies and sausage rolls. Now, not that there's anything necessarily wrong with that, but over the years, these blokes, who do still remain really great mates, did at least move on to some good Tassie wine, and a fruit platter was occasionally known to appear, although most meetings still began with that rivalry so brilliantly fuelled by the AFL. I wonder how those meetings are now though, particularly after helping to shape the PD for that organisation's first female national CEO, a woman of course. 10 years ago, I was delighted to be the first woman appointed to the National Board of the Australian Marketing Institute, an association in existence for 70 years at that time. And while still a member of that board today, and after happily watching the growing skew towards women in marketing, I'm pleased to say that 40% of that board is now female. And recently, the first woman to be appointed as CEO of the AMI was also celebrated. So yes, reflecting over the past 20 years of these awards, we've certainly come a long way, although arguably we still have a few speed-humped steps to take. Although I've gained enormous reward from being a voluntary director on a number of boards over the past decade, since becoming a Telstra Businesswoman's Award winner, I've been appointed to 2 new boards, both in paid roles. And I do try not to embark on an explanation of a merit-based appointment process when, on more than a few occasions, fellows have remarked on what they term concessionary shifts towards appointing women to boards in order to fill quotas. I'd like to think that my skills and my experience, including my gender, genuinely add value. So yes, I have a busy life, and as a solo mum of 2 wonderful kids, it can be pretty hectic at times. The creativity just to be here tonight with a daughter in Oliver out at the deck and a son celebrating his 11th birthday tomorrow, sometimes it's pretty laughable, but with thanks to friends and a room upstairs, we're each having fun and all looking forward to the birthday breakfast downstairs in the morning. But while we're doing just fine with busy lives, achieving goals both personally and professionally, if I were asked what I'd want if handed a magic wand and given a wish for women's progress over the next 20 years, it would be around the achievement of acceptance. I've spoken of those purposeful programs over 20 years ago, which were designed to give women special opportunities. They were needed then, and in some cases, I believe they still are today. But like I've said, I still feel there's a long way to go. I understand that a couple of months ago, the Australian Pulse of Women in Leadership reported that 60% of men believe that women are given similar opportunities, they simply don't take full advantage of them. Interestingly, only 35% of women felt the same. My thoughts on this? Well, yes, increasingly, I do believe that women are given similar opportunities, but it's often the context and the constraints that challenge women the most. I mentioned a busy life, but how many of us would question a bloke with a full-time CEO role and a number of board directorships? If you look at the ASX leaders, we celebrate the fellows at that high level with similar achievements, rather than querying whether a passionate leader can make a small contribution in that manner. Are you sure you're not overdoing it is a frequent question, and although I do need to get creative and compromise sometimes, I know I'm giving it everything, my family is doing okay, and in some small ways, I'm helping to make a difference. So I'd like to think that in 20 years' time, when my daughter is 32 and at a similar work-life crossroads to my own at that stage, she'll not be questioned, she'll be accepted, and she'll be free to make choices without the need for added explanations on why it's okay for a woman to strive to be the best that she can. I'd like to think that she'll be achieving her goals, and if, like me, they're associated with professional success and giving back to our community, then I'd like the pathway to be a little smoother. That said, reflecting on where we've come over the past 20 years, I'd like to think that we're still celebrating the success of women in business. Let's face it, I think we're special, and some of the challenges that are associated with the context of family will never change, so our achievements are often all the more sweet. But I trust that through our proud role as alumni of the Telstra Businesswomen's Awards, we'll help shape a new generation that embraces both acceptance and celebration of the profound achievements of women in business across every sector. And I've left my last page of notes back. Oh no, I haven't, it's on the back here. It's right up there with a brain snap, because this is my final remark to Telstra, to the alumni of past winners and to those who join us tonight. I do sincerely thank you, I congratulate you, but I also challenge you to join me on that journey for acceptance over the next 20 years. Thank you.